Hello! I bought this Pet Portraits colouring book recently by Christina Bolander. I'm going to flip through it today and then pick a couple of pictures to colour. A cosy activity for a cold Melbourne winter. Let's get into it! I originally saw this on Instagram and the cover just really caught my eye. I found it on Amazon and the price ranges from between $12 and $15 AU, so quite reasonable, especially for the amount of images in the book. 104? Something like that. It's actually a lot. And they are so cute. Although the paper is quite flimsy, you can maybe see a bit of ghosting of the image through there, but they are single-sided, so I can live with that, because that means that you're not going to ruin any images on the back of the page. She has released 3 colouring books. The other 2 are horses and dogs, but I went for the pet portraits because I like to have a variety of different animals, and there certainly is a variety in here. Birds, horses, rodents... So much to choose from, and the quality of the drawings is really great. The animals are very realistic and there's a lot of detail, including some grayscale there, which really helps to show the areas of shading. I love that picture, it's so gorgeous. The only trouble is that some of the pictures are cut off on the edges there, whereas other ones like this don't have any discernible edges. And there are maybe a few issues with scale. A lot of the pictures are nice and large like these ones, but as I flip through you may notice that some of them are a bit too small for the page, so consistency is a little off, but that's a minor nitpick really. The overall quality of the illustrations are really lovely, and Christina Bolander is clearly a skilled artist, especially when it comes to animals. I'll link this book and probably the other ones in the series in the description below so you can have a look at them. If you're a dog or horse aficionado, you may prefer one of the other books, but as I said, I just like the variety, and this one has cats in it too. Yay! I was struggling to decide which pictures to colour in this video because there are so many that I like. This German Shepherd picture is awesome, and is one of my favourites in the book. I love the ducks too. Spoiler alert, I actually chose different pictures for this video, but do let me know in the comments if you want to see me colour any of these other ones, and those kittens are ridiculously cute. I love this dog picture too. Is it a border collie? Something like that? I'm so glad I chose this book. I just love all of the different animals that are in here. And there are heaps of pictures too. It has more than I was expecting when I bought the book. But maybe you could see what I mean about the scale, that some large animals are quite small and then small animals are really big, so it doesn't quite make sense when you look at them all together like this. But if you just focus on one page at a time, it's no big deal. I mean, horses are always going to be difficult to fit onto one page, and some of these look like they're landscapes converted into portrait pictures. I love that there are birds in this book because they're always fun to colour, and I think that for the amount of quality images that are in the book, that it is good value for money. It does bother me that some have white frames though, and this one feels a little bit small for the page, but I'll probably just draw in extra bits to fit it onto the page anyhow, so it's all good. I keep thinking I'm near the end of the book, but no, there are more pages and plenty more cute illustrations to choose from. Tell me, do you prefer dogs or cats? I'm definitely a cat lady, although I like dogs as well. But there's something about a sweet cat face that I can never resist. Okay, I'm at the end of the book. There are a few blank pages for swatching on, and this is definitely printed by Amazon. And now it's time to make a difficult decision as to what to colour first. But just before I do that, I wanted to test out marker pens in this book because I have a feeling they're going to bleed through really easily. I'm sticking some old paper and a plastic sheet underneath so it can bleed through onto that. And yes, alcohol markers will work, but the paper is very thin and so they're going to bleed through a lot. I got quite a nice smooth gradient on it though. These markers are very juicy as you can see, and when I flip the page you'll see that it has gone right through onto the other paper that I put down. So if you use alcohol markers in this book, I highly recommend putting some scrap paper underneath to protect the images. I changed my mind from using markers and I'm just going to use coloured pencils today, starting off with Faber Castell Polychromos. The first picture I'm colouring today is this lovely budgerigar, or parakeet if you're American. I picked out a bunch of different colours from the Polychromos tin, and here's hoping the paper will hold up to the pencils. And thankfully it did, although I noticed that some of the lighter pencils struggled a little bit on this paper, but as I progressed into the picture I was actually able to layer a lot more than I was expecting. I hadn't used the Polychromos for a while, and I'd forgotten that they are a little bit firmer than some of the other pencils I've been using, like Prismacolors, but the colour payoff is actually really good out of these pencils, and I do love them. They also sharpen to a really fine point, and so you can get a lot of detail from them. I'm colouring larger areas with the light layer of a single colour and then going in with darker layers to add shadows and get a more interesting variety of value and colour. I decided to go quite realistic with the colours on this particular picture, and I looked up a few reference images of budgerigars so that I could get the right colours. Australia has wild populations of budgies, and they're usually this lovely green and gold colour. I love colouring pictures which have a bit of grayscale in them because it really does add to the detail and it helps to just show exactly where the shaded areas need to be. So it's a lot more easy to achieve a realistic look, and I'm so happy with how this budgerigar or parakeet turned out. The Polychromos were really great in this book. They're nice and smooth, they're quite translucent pencils, and it just translated very well with the grayscale of this image so you could see it coming through underneath. I was able to achieve a realistic look with minimal effort. And when I say minimal effort, I mean by my standards, because I am a bit of a colouring aficionado, as you well know, and I do often spend a lot of time colouring in pages. I think this one took me maybe a couple of hours, possibly a bit longer to colour, because I did keep going back over areas, and the wings were the most complicated part of this entire picture. The underside of Budgie's wings are usually a lot darker, and I did make that up a little bit because I didn't want it to all be grey, so I included some greens and blue as well, just to make the whole picture really cohesive and matching with the tail feathers as well. The last thing I did on this was actually draw a circle in the background because I felt like it needed something, but I didn't want to colour the entire background. That would have just taken too long, and I'm far too impatient for that. I'm very happy with the end result. I think the circle just gives it a little bit of extra dimension, and the polys were really great on this paper. I did some heavy burnishing, particularly on the wings, so it is quite shiny. And I'd put a piece of clear acetate underneath the paper so I could burnish heavily without denting the pictures underneath. I'm quite heavy-handed when it comes to colouring pages. But I have time for one more picture, and I just have to colour in this cat, although the German Shepherd was a strong contender. I thought I'd try out some different coloured pencils for this one, and I'm going to use Derwent Lightfast, probably some of my most expensive pencils, but I haven't used them in ages, and I just really felt like getting them out. And I also wasn't in the mood to do realistic colours for this one, so I'm going for purples and blues. I'm also going to work on eliminating that border because I really don't like it. But I thought I'd better start with the face and move my way down. I'm going in with some very light blues and purples, and then I decided I needed some much darker ones. This blue ended up being brighter than I expected, and I thought I had already ruined the picture at this point. But I decided to keep going, and I'm really glad I did because I love this picture and how it turned out. But my goodness, it took me ages, at least twice as long as the budgerigar, because I really wanted to get those fur details in. I always find drawing fur to be very complicated, and don't ask me how I do it because I don't know, I was just making it up as I went along. I think the easiest way is to add a bit of the dark area first and then go over with light pencil, and then go over again with darker pencil just to build up the values as you go along. But I really was guessing here, and the purple and blue colours were throwing me a little bit because they're not normal colours for a cat. But actually the colour doesn't matter so much as the value, so you just really want to get bright areas and shadows with mid-tones in between to achieve a realistic look, even if the colour isn't exactly realistic. But they're such pretty colours. I'm just on a bit of a blue and purple kick at the moment. It could be because it's winter and it's making me think of cooler colours. The Lightfast pencils worked really well on this paper as well, and I was able to achieve multiple layers, just like I did with the Polychromos. Both Derwent Lightfast and Faber Castell Polychromos are oil-based, as opposed to wax-based pencils such as Prismacolor Premiers and Caran d'Ache Luminance. I think I'll have to try those in this book next time, if I do some more pictures. But the oil-based pencils work really well, and the Derwent Lightfast pencils are a bit softer than the Polychromos. The white is also better and blends more easily. But otherwise, this fur took me ages to do, and I decided to save the eyes for last, so you're going to see what colour I chose for those, and I also added in a bit of a circle around the back of it because I seem to be doing that a lot lately. I did compromise by not making it a super dark circle though. The only issue I had was I was not able to quite eliminate all of the line on that border, though I did my best to cover it up as much as possible and overlap the fur to make it look as natural as I could. I am really happy with my colour choice for this particular picture. I'm really proud of how this picture turned out. I'm so happy with the colours, and I think the green eyes go nicely with the purple and blue, along with the light yellow circle, just to make it look a little bit more interesting than a plain white background. The only bit I'm not happy about is that line that you could still see visibly through the fur, but it's as good as I could get, and it's not that noticeable. I'm just pointing it out to you right now, because I know it's there. And hey, it's a colouring book, not the Mona Lisa. And here's a display that's happening at the moment at my local library from the colouring group that I'm in. You know that purple and blue one is mine, because it's almost exactly the same colour scheme as the cat. I told you I was obsessed with those colours right now. But we meet up on a monthly basis at Ferntree Gully Library, and they asked us to put up a winter display, and we all contributed some pictures that we'd done. I love how the same image can look so completely different depending on who's coloured it. I contributed quite a few because, you know, I'm a prolific colourer. The middle princess, the gnome, and the left-hand girl with deer are all of my ones. Just looking at my pictures, I can really see I have a particular style. On this page, the ones that are mine are the windmills, the 4 rabbits underneath, and over on the right, the bunny at the bottom of the 4 there. Oh, and the bee as well. I don't know how I ended up with so many on this particular page, but I love this social group. It's so much fun to go to and hang out with like-minded people. And back to this colouring book. I really like it. I think it's worth the money and I do recommend it. My first picture is the budgerigar, or parakeet, and I like how it turned out. It's a little plain and I've managed to get smudges on it already. Just as well they're single-sided really. And then my favourite picture of the day is the cat, though I'm thinking I might want to make that yellow circle a bit darker. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up, and you might want to click subscribe for more videos. I'll put up some other colouring videos I've done in the past, and I'll see you all again in my next video. Have a great day, and I'll swatch you later. Bye!